The Forgotten Clock. In the heart of the city stood an old building, forgotten by time, its shadows swallowing it whole. Its windows were dust-covered, its doors chained shut, yet the world outside kept moving, as if it had never existed. Inside the building, a lone clock ticked. Not on a wall, not on a shelf, but suspended in the middle of a dust-filled room, completely visible yet strangely out of place. Its hands moved slowly, almost sluggishly, marking hours no one could remember. The air smelled of old wood and memories. Every tick echoed like a whisper through the empty halls. Once, perhaps, laughter had filled the space, but now only silence remained, heavy, deep, and thick as fog. Here, time seemed bent. Shadows lingered longer than usual. A chill froze the air. And sometimes the clock would stop for a moment, holding its breath, as if waiting for someone who would never come. Outside, life went on. Cars honked, footsteps echoed, people hurried by, unaware of the hidden rhythm within. Yet in that forgotten room, the clock kept moving, patient, eternal, and knowing. It counted seconds no one noticed, moments that belonged only to walls, dust, and shadows. And though no one saw it, the city itself seemed subtly changed, touched by an unseen presence, the heartbeat of time, reminding the world that even forgotten places have their stories. On moonless nights, weak light from the window cracks would play across the dusty floor. Shadows grew long and danced, synchronized with each tick of the clock. Its sound was no longer a simple tick. It had become a strange, ambiguous tone, the rhythm of memories no one could recall. With every tick, fleeting and indecipherable images appeared on the walls. People who once walked through the building, their laughter, their steps, even their fears. Then, with the next tick, they vanished, as if they had never existed. One night, a strong wind blew through a broken window, sending dust swirling into the air. The clock paused for a moment, and a complete silence enveloped everything. At that moment, it seemed the walls were breathing, and the room itself had come alive. Time and space no longer mattered. Everything awaited a final movement. Then the clock ticked again, but its hands moved unnaturally fast. The images on the walls appeared and vanished more rapidly. Faces, shadows, memories unknown to anyone. The building shivered, not physically, but as if an invisible presence had touched everything. By morning, people passed the building, seeing nothing unusual. No one heard the ticking clock. No one saw the images on the walls, and no one understood that time itself was alive inside that forgotten space. And the clock, as it had for years, continued its slow, patient, solitary motion until someone dared to step inside and uncover its secrets. Night deepened gradually, darkness enveloping the building. Moonlight could barely touch the dusty windows. Each tick of the clock now echoed like a pounding, almost alive sound in the room. It was as if the clock was not only measuring time, but counting forgotten memories. Suddenly, a faint whisper emerged from a dark corner. The ticking slowed, then abruptly stopped for a few moments. A heavy silence filled the space. Even the air seemed unwilling to move. At that moment, dust in the room began to gather, forming an ambiguous, shifting shape that trembled with every small tick of the clock. A cold wind entered through a crack and shook the shape. For a brief instant, ghostly faces appeared in the dust, sorrowful, staring, motionless. Then they vanished, yet their presence remained heavy in the room. The clock ticked again, now uneven, irregular. The sounds resembled a distorted heartbeat. Walls, ceiling, and floor seemed alive. Shadows bent and recoiled without any light source. Then something strange happened. Clock hands began to move backward. Every passing second seemed to rewind a memory. This time, the memories were real and painful. A child falling down the stairs, a lost letter, laughter that would never be heard again. With every backward second, the invisible presence in the room grew closer and more tangible. It seemed the building, the clock, the shadows, and the memories had merged. No one could predict when it would end. The clock still ticked, perhaps still waiting, for someone brave enough to step inside and become part of the forgotten time. Night deepened, darkness embracing the building. Dust-filled windows allowed only the faintest moonlight to reach the floor. The clock ticked. Each sound carried the pulse of the unseen entity. A long, unnatural shadow moved in the dark corner. Its form, partially revealed by dancing dust, showed elongated arms and glowing eyes that tracked the child. Only fragments of it were visible, an arm, an eye, or a shadow sliding across the wall, enough to instill terror. The clock paused briefly. Heavy silence filled the air, as if everything held its breath. Dust revealed glimpses of past memories, laughter never heard, steps that never returned, a lone child's shadow. Then the clock hands moved backward. The entity approached with each tick. Its elongated arms passed through the shadows, dust trembled, whispers and rustling intensified. The child stood alone in the corner, breath ragged. The entity, still partially hidden, drew closer and closer. Shadows and faint light revealed the motion of its hands and its glowing eyes, but just as it reached toward the child, a heavy silence fell. The ticking of the clock and the trembling shadows remained.